Hello, people, and welcome again to another online English audio class. And this time, it's going to be about the exams, this famous topic, okay, that I know many of you are surely interested in. Okay, but well, what I wanted to say about these famous exams, okay, is that I guess that most students, most people, okay, aspiring, to learn English and maybe also get a degree, okay, may just incur in a little a way too much fanatization, okay. So what I mean is that they may eventually become a little fanatized about getting this or that degree, okay. And what I wanted to say about this is that while having a degree is something pretty cool, which also, of course, shows more or less what you supposedly know, okay? It is also something that, well, like I was saying, okay? The point is that I just wanted to suggest you, okay, to consider if this is the case, okay, that you're, just way too interested, like I say, maybe a little, maybe if you could say, a little fanatized about, these degrees, these exams. Maybe just, consider some things about this, okay? So basically what we mean with this is that in the same way we mentioned in other audios, okay, and we suggested not to get fanatized also about the study methods, okay, about this degrees thing and stuff. Well, just a similar concept, okay, if you will. So first of all, why could somebody be looking forward so much to get one of these degrees, okay? We could talk about, for example, getting a job, okay, and for example, in that sense, we could say that not necessarily having that paper, okay, having the degree, the famous degree, okay, is gonna get you the job, okay. Say, for example, that for that given company, speaking English is something very important for them, okay. What ultimately matters most, what you're actually able to do, okay? Not that you have a paper or a degree, okay, that says so, okay? But still, of course, like I said, having these degrees, okay, of course, it's still pretty cool, it can also, of course, be, a positive reference in the sense, okay, of a job, for example. But well, people, I just wanted to let you know that having a degree, okay, having a degree which says that you speak English, at this or that level, okay? It's not just, everything, okay? I wanted to transmit and to suggest to you, okay, precisely this that I'm saying. My advice to you is to not get too fanatized, okay, about degrees. Maybe you can, look forward to have any of those, okay? And that's okay also, okay? If that's what you want, or if in any way you think that it can, improve, your chances of, for example, like I said, getting a job or whatever. But, first of all, the most important thing, like I say, is not a paper, okay? No matter what it says. The most important thing, okay, in something like, for example, we are mostly, talking about the example of a job, most important thing is gonna be, the actual ability, okay? Okay. And also, if we are not talking about, considering all this for this example of getting a job, it can be, just anything else, and we still, mean the same thing, okay? And also take into account that there's something logical in all this, which is that no matter how good the exam is, okay, you cannot cover, okay, as many words, vocabulary and situations and so on, all the things, at least, a good percentage, of the things, of the scenarios that you could possibly mention, okay? So in other words, it is very difficult, to summarize and to include in just one exam, no matter how good it is, okay? The many things that make up, the actual ability, okay, to speak English, okay? However, of course, these exams still got a lot of material, okay, and exercises to be able, okay, to test out, okay, this, aspect, okay, more or less, or as approximately as possible, okay, like I was saying. What's your level in English, okay? But well, and also, of course, they're divided into levels, okay? You got first, advanced, proficiency. So that's why I was suggesting, okay, that you can consider, okay, these things, okay, not be too fanatized about the exams or degrees, okay, even if they're still pretty cool, okay, and add up, okay, to your profile, etc., whatever, all of that, okay. Just the concept, and knowing, these concepts, okay. Basically that, at the end of the day, it's more important that you're able to speak English than any paper or degree, for that matter, that you have. Okay. Having said this, you can make your considerations, this is my suggestion. Okay, I already explained so well. Like we said here, the idea is to yes, actually try and prepare the student, okay, for one of these tests. Okay, all right. So here we can see, okay, a PDF. This is like a general guideline, okay, that Cambridge has on its page, okay, that you can download and to read it, have an idea of what the test is gonna be, okay, which is pretty cool. Okay, with this you can have an idea of how the test more or less is gonna be, okay, what you can expect, okay, about it, okay. So here you can see information for candidates, Cambridge English qualifications, B2 first, that's the level of it, okay. It's like a beginner level, okay, but still in principle for what I'm seeing, it's not just 2 or 3 words, okay. It's actually a level where the student can pretty much communicate in general, okay. So here we can see, okay, contents, how to use this guide, about the exam, taking the exam, after the exam, okay. Here you got all the points, how to use this guide. This guide is designed to help you on each step of your learning journey. There's information, advice, okay, so this is pretty much, okay, what we were expecting, So here you can see about the exam. B2 first is a qualification for learners who have an upper intermediate level of English. Here's, for example, a reference of what we were talking about. Okay. Here you got some descriptions about the exam. For example, here it says is designed to show your ability to use English in a range of different ways. That's what we were mentioning before. For example, preparing for the exam. Moving on, here it says that the exam has 4 papers. Each one, for what it says here, each one covers an ability. Like, for example, the first one reading, the second one writing, the third one listening, and the fourth one speaking. Here there are like questions with the answers. Do I need to pass all 4 papers? Is there a word list for this exam? Okay, so there are some references, and guidelines for the exam. And so here you can see more in detail each of the papers. Okay, for example, paper 1, reading and use of English. And here, for example, is something that I would say it's pretty important to take note of, that it seems that there's a certain time to complete each of the papers. For example, here in paper 1 it says 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so it seems that you got that time to complete okay, that paper, that first paper. So that's something I would say, okay, pretty much convenient to take into account, okay, so that you can try and see, okay, if that time is gonna be enough for you to complete that paper. Okay, I'd say that's undoubtedly pretty important. Okay, something pretty important to consider. So here there are more tips. Okay, you got the second paper, which is writing, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, moving on. Paper 3, listening, about 40 minutes. Okay. This is pretty well described, okay? You know, the steps that you are gonna go through, okay, in each of the papers, okay? You can see that here, okay? You know, in this chart where it says about 40 minutes, to the right, you can see, you know, 4 parts, okay? Which is, for example, that description that I mentioned, okay, of how, you know, each paper is gonna be structured, okay? Here it says, for example, listen to several recordings about different topics. For each recording, answer multiple, blah, 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 blah. Listen to one person speaking for 3 to 4 minutes. You see, and so it explains to you how each paper is gonna be. So this is pretty detailed, okay, which is, again, pretty cool. More tips. And the last paper, which is about speaking. Basically, you're gonna have, you know, a conversation with the teachers, okay, which are gonna be in the exam, okay. And well, and that's pretty much it, people. Then here also you can see taking the exam. There are some more details. Here it tells you about some more details about registering, signing up, checking date, address, you know, obvious things, but, you know, still, you know, this, you know, all pretty complete and tells you about, gives you a really complete reference, you know, and, you know, suggestions, you know, as you can see, of how to, what things, you know, to consider and well, maybe so that you can study, okay, and you know, maybe more, you know, concentrated in that way, and also, you know, take note of some other suggestions, okay, as we mentioned. Okay, here it tells you about after the exam. I guess it tells you here about when you're gonna get the results. Here it tells you about a score. It seems that aspect also we could say it's relevant to know. It seems that it works with points, okay, or score, okay, that you would be passing the exam from 140 points, okay. From that score, it seems that you get the certificate, okay, from Cambridge. But if it is 139 or less, you're not receiving, okay, the certificate. That's something, okay, to take into account, that it works with points, which of course has to do with the you know, how you completed, you know, each of the exercises, like in an exam, okay. Some more details here. about how to read, your results paper. But that's pretty much it, people. There's not much more than this. Here's the last page. Always pretty good graphics. Pretty nice. Okay, and so then moving on to a sample of how each of those papers is gonna be. Okay, remember you got, for example, the paper number 2, which is about writing. Okay, so we could see an example, okay, from those four. Okay, we're gonna see an example of that paper number 2, okay, which is about writing. Okay, so again, Cambridge has on its web page a PDF that you can download to have an idea of more or less how the exam is gonna be. Okay, so I wanted to close this audio class, just doing a review of that sample file. Okay, and just completing an exercise, and so that you can have an idea of more or less how the exam is gonna be. Okay, so here, Cambridge English, first writing. Okay, you can see this would be the paper, okay, of point number 2, which is about writing. Okay, here it tells you the time they manage. Okay, for this is 1 hour and 20 minutes. It has some instructions, but it's basically it's just some details. Okay, let's just go directly to the exercises. It's basically exercises, and basically it's gonna be, of course, about reading some exercise, and just write, and that's it. Okay, so for example, exercise 1 says that it talks about the environment. Okay, and it tells you that you can write an essay, okay, about it, and it gives you some references, or starting points, whatever. Okay, like here it says transport, rivers and seas. Okay, you can add just anything. Okay, but basically it's talking about the environment. Okay, that's point 1. Okay, so point number 2, it says you see this announcement in your college English language magazine. It says book reviews wanted. Have you read a book in which the main character behaved in a surprising way? And basically the exercise would be to tell if you would recommend or not that book to other people. Okay. Okay, so there you would be writing a review. Okay, like it says here. Point number 3, it says articles wanted, the most useful thing I've ever learned. And well, okay, that third point talks about that, okay? And okay, the idea there is to write an article about that. And last point, it shows an email from a friend David, okay, about a touring holiday, and basically asks for suggestions or references about the place where you live, because since he will be visiting that place. Okay, so here it says you can write an email, okay, an answer to that. So the idea is that you write an email, okay, answering to him, okay. Okay, and the last page is in blank, okay, since it ends there. Okay, so that's it, people. And okay, so these are the 4 exercises, okay? Again, remember, this is a sample of one of the 4 papers in the first exam of Cambridge, and we chose the paper about the writing exercises, okay? Then there's also, of course, another 3, okay, papers, like we mentioned, that they cover speaking, listening, and reading, okay? Those would remain, okay, after we complete this one. And this is the 4th one, okay? Or I mean the other one that completes the 4, okay, of the papers, which is like we said, about writing, okay. And well, of course, I wanted to complete one of these exercises so that we can see actually, okay, for example, how it would be, to complete one of these exercises, okay? Okay, of course, then this depends on your level. The first exam, like I think it's, in the previous PDF, there was some, mention about the first level is, more or less. I don't know if we read it, but basically for what it says there, it seems that first is like a kind of intermediate level, or maybe upper intermediate, something like that. Okay, a pretty good level of English, and so, well, just something to mention. And well, and if we again, I wanted to write, okay, the answer to one of these exercises in this moment, okay, so that you can be able to just to see, how would it be to complete one of these exercises, okay, which are, references for the exam, okay, like we mentioned. Okay, so for instance, exercise number 3, you see this announcement of an English language website. Articles wanted, the most useful thing I've ever learned. What is the most useful thing that you have learned? Who did you learn it from? Why is it useful? Write us an article answering these questions. We'll publish the best articles on our website. Okay, so pretty simple. Okay, you just write an article answering about those things. Okay, so for example, we could just for example, choose a title. You can we're gonna copy that first phrase. I'm gonna do something very simple. Okay, so don't expect just so much, out of this. It's just, something to complete the exercise, more or less show you an example of, how you can answer, how this exercise can be completed, okay, just to have an idea, okay? So, you could complete, for example, more or less like this, choosing a title, the most useful thing I've ever learned, okay? The most useful thing I've ever learned was to use tools. I mean, common household tools to fix one or another regular thing. Okay, period. Who did you learn it from? I learned this from my uncle. Then we could add, it is useful because knowing at least how to use some regular simple tools can be practical to fix or improve some things in the house. Okay. It can be practical to fix or improve some things in the house. Okay. So there we got our article, quote unquote. Okay, but people, as I told you, this is just something, this is just a sample. Okay, what you could possibly, think of, okay, for an answer, okay, for this exercise, okay? You can get more creative if you want, add more details. This, again, like I said, it's just a sample answer, okay? To just, at least, show a basic, a more or less an answer, that you could write, okay, for this exercise. So the answer, the complete answer would be the most useful thing I've ever learned. That'll be the title, and then the most useful thing I've ever learned was to use tools. I mean, common household tools to fix one or another regular thing. I learned this from my uncle. It is useful because knowing at least how to use some regular simple tools can be practical to fix or improve some things in the house. That's it. Okay? So for example there, you could also, for example, check, okay, for example, how much time did it take to you, okay, to answer that point, okay? And maybe also then answer the other 3 points, okay? And going back to the other file, okay, we go to paper 2, writing. It says here that you got 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, you got pretty much plenty of time, okay, to answer to these 4 questions, okay. That's something else too, okay. You can complete the 4 points and see how much time did it take to you, okay, to complete them, okay, knowing that in the exam there's gonna be 1 hour and 20 minutes like it says here, okay. So again, people, these are guidelines and references and suggestions, okay, of how to study for this exam, okay. And that's it. that's it. That's pretty much it. Then, of course, on Cambridge's page, you can find exercises to practice for the speaking part and for the listening part, and the reading part. Okay, we saw about the writing part. Okay, and completed one of the 4 exercises. Okay, so well, people, this was a practice for Cambridge's first exam. We reviewed many aspects of it and how you can start studying, and knowing that you can find this guidelines and practice materials on Cambridge's webpage. And again, I hope it was useful. You could clarify some things about it. Maybe you didn't know that you had those guidelines on Cambridge webpage. That's something cool stuff to know. Okay, and well, people, that's it. If you have any questions about this or any suggestions, anything else maybe that you would like me to cover in another audio class, or if you're looking for English classes, okay, remind you that there's always availability for classes, okay, online. We can have individual online classes. I choose audio classes. I always explain this because it's faster, it's more, to me it seems just better in much ways. I'm not a very big fan, I'm also of the video thing. It just seems like a distraction, and also it lowers the speed, lowers the quality, I think too, and so for that, and maybe some other reasons, but basically that I choose the audio classes, okay, which work perfectly well, okay, and that way we have, for what I can see, better audio quality, which is very important, okay. Maybe if we both, the student and I, a great connection, a great equipment, all the thing, maybe it would be suitable, and logic to have a video class, but as far as as I can see, one or another thing sometimes is not there, okay, maybe the connection, or maybe the equipment, okay. And so if we have a video class, it becomes laggy and stuff. And okay, I covered this explanation in another audios, so I didn't want to to concentrate much on that right now. I just wanted to let you know that there's availability always for classes if you're looking for that, okay. We can cover anything you need, okay. If you choose to study with me, okay, you're gonna have quality assistance. Remember that I've spoken English my entire life. I've studied English academically for around 14 years, okay. I did trips to the USA, Canada, and well, I've practiced, English and spoken English my entire life. Also, still learning too, okay. So you can imagine, that consider maybe for yourself if you're finding it maybe a little difficult. It's just okay, maybe I just suggest that to take your time, because learning a language takes time, to encourage you about this, that with time you may be able to make some progress. Okay, it's just about, like I always say, no magical stuff, and no 3 weeks or 3 months fast learning. Okay, you got to know that learning a language, it's not just easy peasy. Okay, people? It's also, I want to encourage you, like I said, that you can know that it's not also impossible either. Okay? But it's also not something that you can expect to achieve. Okay? Not in 3 weeks, nor in 3 months. Not even in, maybe in a year. Okay, maybe in a year you can be able to speak some English. Okay, it also, of course, depends on how much time you dedicate to it. Of course, okay. Maybe if you dedicate, I don't know, 2 hours a day. Okay. Maybe in 1 year you'll be able to speak a pretty decent English. Okay, because that's gonna be around 700 hours of study. Okay, but most of the times, or at least maybe a good amount of times, I guess, people don't dedicate that time to speaking English. That's why I always say and advise people to try and switch the phone to English, or the computer, or practice with as many things as you can. Okay, in English. Okay, switch things you can to English, to just to be able to practice more. Okay, because of course it doesn't end in the grammar exercises and stuff books. Okay, it's much better, much more complete, way more complete to practice, like I always say. For example, a typical example of any video, for example, of the regular things. Okay, that any random things, and practice with that. Okay. So again, people, I just extended this a little bit more to mention about this. Okay, remember, if you're looking for English classes, there's availability, and we can arrange for classes. Okay, people, so thank you for listening, and see you in another audio class. Bye-bye.